Hi there, my name is Isabella L. Price and welcome to my channel. Alright, so this review is about Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, which I just saw a couple of weeks ago, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, something like that. This is really late, this is a very late review. You've probably already seen the movie or you have no intention of seeing the movie right now, but I'm just posting this for posterity's sake, so bear with me. First of all, my number one pet peeve in the whole entire universe, something that makes me so freaking angry, like it's unjustly angry. Let's start with this. The definition of a zombie. The definition of a zombie is a corpse said to be revived by witchcraft, especially in certain African and Caribbean religions. Here's the definition of a ghoul. From the Arabic word ghoul, a demon believed to rob graves and devour corpses. Okay, so your definition of a zombie, which is a corpse revived by witchcraft, especially in certain African and Caribbean religions, or a demon believed to rob graves and devour corpses, devour flesh. Which one of those sounds like a zombie to you? It would probably be the latter one, aka a ghoul. Not a zombie, which is a Afro-Caribbean word, which means it's somebody who is revived by a shaman, a witch doctor, a voodoo priest or priestess in order to do their bidding. This person is probably trapped inside of their own mind. That's a zombie. What you're seeing in so many movies today that's being passed off as a zombie is actually a ghoul. For some reason, somewhere, actually, you know what, Night of the Living Dead doesn't even say that they're zombies. There was something that happened after the 80s, or around the time of the 80s, in which people just started to call anything that was once dead, that is now not dead, a zombie, despite the fact that these are not zombies at all. These are ghouls. These are walking, talking, not talking. These are ghouls. They are reanimated beings which devour flesh. A zombie, there's nothing in zombie lore, there's nothing in zombie background or any of that stuff that when you go to the source of where zombies come from, where that lore, where that mythology comes from, never once has it ever been about devouring flesh or eating brains or anything like that. A zombie is somebody who, and even if you look at earlier films like White Zombie or I Walked with a Zombie, or films in the 40s and the 50s, which are so racist, but something that is worth going into. Those films had more to do with actual zombies than they did with the films that are being called zombies nowadays. So I will bring that up whenever I want to, however I want to. This movie was so terrible. Oh my god. It was so awful. It was so terrible. Okay, so the director of the film is this guy named Burr Steers. I'd never heard of him before. Apparently, he wrote or he directed this other movie called Igby Goes Down, which I've never seen before. Sorry, it's probably a great film. I've heard of it, but I've never seen it before. And then he made another movie called 17 Again, which, okay. How that leads you to do this movie, I have no clue. The book is by this guy named Seth Grahame-Smith, who also wrote Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. This is sort of his shtick, that he takes older source material and he revamps it with this sort of like modern horror kind of element, which I think is really great. I think it's really funny. The stars of it is Lily James. She was in Downton Abbey. She also starred in Cinderella. Sam Riley, who was in Maleficent. Side note, he's also been casted in the new Ghost in the Shell, which is like so... Sam Riley is trying to make me not like him, and I don't know why. Jack Houston, who is Bay, he's from Boardwalk Empire. He's also the nephew, I believe, of Angelica Houston, which means you can't do anything wrong in my eyes. Matt Smith, aka the Doctor, and Lena Headey, who is from Game of Thrones. So the budget was $28 million, and I think as of me writing this script, it only made $10 million, which is kind of embarrassing. Here's the problem with this film. How much time do I have? Because I'm about to go off. US marketing versus the international marketing were two different films. The international marketing, if you look at the international trailer, the UK trailer, it plays on the whole joke. It plays on the whole joke that this was Pride and Prejudice, but it's got zombies in it. And it's this typical it's this film that is supposed to be mocking something. Like, what if you had a tale of manners, but then you put in the zombie apocalypse in it? The American trailer is just full of explosions and action and zombies, and it looks like a horror trailer instead of it actually being what it is, which is a parody. It's a parody movie. It's a historical parody film, and it's sort of, the US trailer sort of makes it seem like you don't know what Pride and Prejudice is, as though you're just an idiot who's never read a book in his entire life and go see this movie because it's got sexy ladies in it and zombies. It's marketing towards also male audiences with its use of every single scene of when the women are getting dressed or undressed and all of the explosions and violence and horror, instead of who it should have been marketed towards, which were female fans of horror, of which there are so many female fans of horror. You're looking at one right now. And it should have also been marketed towards people who've read the source material, of whom I can say sexistly might be also female fans as well. The marketing felt like it was like, take your boyfriend to this film so that he won't get bored with you. It was just very strange and misleading, and I hated it. So also one of my main problems with this was there was so much that you could have done with the source material. Like, there were so many things that you could have done with the retelling of Pride and Prejudice. Really, the whole set looked like it was it was sort of like as though the BBC, one of the BBC studios, they had a free week where they weren't filming anything, and the Pride and Prejudice people went in and started to film. It didn't look like it was a new set. It looked like an old set from something else. There's so many things that could have been done. There was an opening scene that was animated, and it was sort of like a paper cutout. If that was probably the most ingenious, entertaining part of this entire film. The rest of the film was really not the same type of feeling. If they had kept that playful, inventive, visually interesting, whoever did that intro part where the animated cardboard cutouts should have done the rest of the film. They should have just given the money to them instead of this Steers guy, sorry. You could have had it been influenced by steampunk, so you could have had this steampunk kind of Edwardian, Victorian, even though it's not Victorian or Edwardian. Or what you could have done is you could have played off of the idyllic summer, pastel, beautiful, bright visuals of traditional Pride and Prejudice tellings of it, but just with reanimated corpses in the back. What they did was they tried to take it and they tried to make it a comedy mixed with a period piece, mixed with a horror movie, and mixed with this like female empowerment sort of a thing. It was really miserable. It was just a very clumsy, ill-paced, ill-acted kind of film. They could have had so many other female directors of horror who could have taken this really female-targeted franchise and female horror franchise, and they could have turned it on its head, but instead they just hired somebody who felt like he had no knowledge of the source material. He had no knowledge of any of the sort of tales of... He didn't have any knowledge of horror or the source material, and then they just gave him this movie for no particular reason whatsoever, and it makes me so mad. Also, this would have been so much better if it had been done for television. If they had made Pride and Prejudice and Zombies a mini-series for the CW, and then we could have had the development of the characters, the development of the pacing, the storyline, it would have been so much better. Because it's one thing to cram in all of Pride and Prejudice into a movie, which is really difficult. It's another thing... Oh my god. I have to take a sip of my coffee from my Ninja Turtles mug. Excuse me. What would have been really great is if it had been like a CW miniseries, or an ABC miniseries or something like that, on ABC Family or the CW or something along those lines that had a target towards a younger audience, but still could have appealed to female fans of The Walking Dead or something like that, instead of it being whatever the fuck it was. I have no clue what movie I even saw. I really don't. It makes me so mad. One of the things that also was really terrible about it was that there was no chemistry between Darcy and Liz. It was, you had to really understand. I don't know if having an understanding of the source material helped me or hurt me, to where I didn't have to understand the development of the characters, because I already knew what the relationships for all the characters were. So I don't remember those characters being developed at all. I don't remember if there was any sort of understanding of who they were. So I don't know if that helped me to just see the film for what it really was, or if it hurt me because I already knew what the plot line was. So I didn't have to pay attention. This was really a film. There's this movie that just came out called The Witch, which you had to really be mindful of, and then there's this movie of which you really could have just turned your brain off of. It's a movie where you didn't have to think, you didn't have to process it. Just turn your brain off and eat popcorn and drink soda, and you're fine, you're good to go. If you like those kinds of films, where all you have to do is turn your brain off and eat popcorn and people's heads get cut off, this is the perfect film for you. There's no thought that is involved for this. There's no understanding of the source material. There's also lines from this film that I believe were taken from Persuasion, and not actually from Pride and Prejudice. I believe there's some lines that were a mix of other books, which is so fucking offensive. Oh my god. It felt like it was written by a 14-year-old boy who had to write something for his English class. So he was like, fuck Pride and Prejudice, I'm gonna put fucking zombies in it. And then Darcy and Liz have a scene where like Elizabeth's bodice gets ripped off. It just felt like it was written and directed by a boy, by a man-child. It didn't feel clever or smart or inventive. There's so many things you could have done with this, and none of those things were done with this film. The chemistry of the characters did not go together at all. It didn't feel like they were even related to each other. Lena Headey could have been used so much better. The only good part of this film was Matt Smith. He was really genuinely funny, and he really genuinely felt like he was probably the only person in the entire film who actually knew what Pride and Prejudice was about. And Jack Houston, who is a fucking babe, so it doesn't matter. He could read lines from, he could read the most offensive parts of Reddit, and I would still be like, this was great. Money well spent. The movie is so predictable. Darcy saves Liz despite the fact that Liz is supposed to be his equal. He saves her in every single scene that they're in except for the climax, which is stupid. That's really dumb to write a character who needs to be saved, except for by the end, everybody looked so well kent. It looked like they were shooting for a Pride and Prejudice line from Abercrombie and Finch. It didn't feel like it was genuine at all. It was just so contrived and so staged and so fake. I get it that it was supposed to be a wink and a nod, but it just felt like they were making fun of Pride and Prejudice and not paying homage to it at all. I hated it. I hated it. Oh my god. This could have been a good gothic romance period piece. If you want to see a good gothic romance period piece, just watch Crimson Peak. I mean, so much better, so much more visual, so much more interesting than this. This was hot garbage. Just it was a mess, and I feel really like resentful of it, because it could have been something that was really great. It could have been something very dynamic, and it wasn't. So don't see this movie. Don't pay for it. This is hands down a movie that needs and deserves to be pirated. So if your friends are gonna have like a sleepover night, or it's gonna be girls' night, and you guys just want to hang out and watch something that is not too heavy and it's not gonna make you cry, it's just gonna be like a fun sort of action film, then watch this film. It was definitely popcorn, turn your brain off and be entertained sort of a film. Not really a film that I would pay money for. But yeah, skip it. Don't even. Yeah. Alright, well, thank you guys so much for watching this review of just the worst film I've seen in a year. I really wanted to walk out of this film, but I didn't, because I'm a brave soldier. And I paid money, so I want to get my goddamn money's worth. So, what did you guys think of this film? Did you hate it as much as I did, or did you fucking absolutely love it? If you loved it, then please let me know why. Why? What's wrong with you? Please, if you like these videos, if you like this video in particular, if you hated this video in particular, please subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos, and thank you so much for watching. So, bye.